me jump over here. G'day, Stu from UAVFutures. Welcome back to our weekly live stream number 19. Let me pause some things that are going on in the background. How are you guys going? Make sure you strap yourself in, grab a cup of coffee, grab a dinner. Maybe you're tuning in from like the morning somewhere, starting the day. But today we're going to be talking all things FPV. I need to go through, check a little bit of my microphone. So if you guys can let me know what you're doing in the chat. Can you hear this? Check, 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 mic check, because I was daydreaming a little bit, looking at some other things, and then I realized, yes, I might not have muted some things. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in the show. I can see Johnny DRC, he's already in the chat. He's in here week in, week out. He's saying, yes, good Stu. We're going to be talking about some analog goggles. Yes, I know there's still a lot of people like digital, but we're going to be talking about analog goggles as well. I think Great Scott, he's saying yo-yo, or thank you very much, Ben. Sound and vid is good. That's exactly what I like to hear. So I'm going to jump over here and tell you what is happening today. So look, we will be talking about DIY FPV, but our happy flying episodes, we're going to kick it off. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health and the importance of FPV and just being part of something. We need to talk about analog, and is it worth to go analog in 2025? Like moving forward, looking at the price of things compared to digital, how much are some things going to cost? We also have pretty big news, actually. The REDCAT people, so they won some contracts over in the US for defense. So yeah, their share prices and what does that mean for the hobby? We're probably going to be mentioning a few things related to war and I guess the militarization of or weaponization of drones. So we're going to be talking about that. We have some news about the O4 air units. I've been trying to do a little bit of sneaky investigations in the background. So we're going to be talking about some goggle compatibility, who needs to upgrade their goggles, and maybe like some loosely confirmed options that are working with the O4 unit at the moment. So some companies that are using those. We've got some ready to fly kits, which I am very, very excited to talk about. I'm going to be letting some people just basically enjoy FPV no matter what they fly. We have some news coming out about DIY FPV. So that's like the greatest FPV website ever built. We've got some things, some little features that I want to show you that before we launch. We need to talk about BL Heli 32 and AM 32 and all that sort of jazz that's going on with that. And then just generally hanging out, answering some questions, having a good time. Before we kick it off, though, I just want to know, what are you guys up to? What are you doing? Did you get to fly over the weekend? Or if you didn't, what is one thing you are most excited about flying in the future? Like, what is one thing you're looking forward to? Because that's the best thing about FPV is just getting out there, flying around, having a good time, and I want to know about it. I spend a lot of time here editing, but I also like watching a lot of your guys' videos and those sorts of things as well. All right. So just checking in the chat. We've got someone from Maui. Let's see, Great Scott's 5x5. He's in the pipe right there. Bit of an old school 80s reference. And Johnny DRC as having a bit of a chat. And other people talking about walk snail and saying to throw away DJI. But let's do it. Let's kick it off with the first part of the agenda. Of course, we always start. We are here week in, week out. And we always start these with talking about mental health because it's important. Like, this is happy flying. I love FPV. I love these crazy little drones and flying blenders, but they absolutely changed my life. But one thing that I realized I'm even more passionate about than these drones is actually the ability that these things have to change people's lives. So we're going to quickly say, if you are suffering, if you feel like you don't know what to do, or you've got nobody to talk to, or you're in a bit of a dark place with your mental health, please reach out to somebody, go get some help. It's not weak to speak at all. And like I say, week in, week out, if you break your leg, you go to the doctor. So if you've got something wrong with your head or it's just not feeling right, please go and speak to somebody, because I've been there. It really, really sucks. I'm in a much better place now, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But yeah, it was really tough. So even if this just goes out to one of you people out there watching, please don't feel alone. You can either send me a message or join the Discord, because it is really important to be part of something and have a bit of purpose. And that's what's great about the FPV community. And I'm sure people here will let us know in the chat, this FPV community is absolutely amazing. Like, the amount of support, positivity, just people enjoying these little crazy flying blenders is next level. And I couldn't be more proud to sort of be here talking about FPV and hanging out with you guys. This is the best part of my working week. Yeah, so let's keep continuing now. We're going to probably jump in to our first FPV topic. Johnny DRC is saying, just posted my first flight with my walk snail, Phantom 2.5 inch radio. And Dave S is saying he flew his Mob 8 with the 04 Lite. Is going to be sick. I think, oh, you think that's going to be sick? Yeah, okay. I was going to say, if you have an 04 air unit, I would be very, very jealous. I would love to test out an 04 air unit. I think it's going to make some really, really big waves in FPV, but we will have to see. So, and what that means for the other systems as well. And Ben is saying, I've been ripping my Avata 2, very tame compared to my 5-inch, but for its intended purposes, it is actually really good. We've got Chris Croft here as well. Big shout out to him, because you guys don't know this, or maybe you do. But the last video I did was one about HD0 and latency, doing a bit of an investigation into just how different is it. And surprisingly, it was very different. So if you've never tried HD0, let me tell you, you will notice it if you're jumping over from like a walk snail system. But most of the time, I would just choose the system you're going to enjoy. But a big shout out to Chris Croft there, because he let me borrow his goggles, rip a few packs, and thankfully we didn't break his drones. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is analog dead in 2025? So I was looking at some of the prices. I know we've got some, like, what is it? Some of the sales that are coming up for the holiday season. And it's one of the questions here was like, what is the best cheap analog goggle? Who actually mentioned that? It was Island Creek Drone Photography. So look at this for some special skills. Get this on the screen. What is the best what's the best budget analog goggles? So this really got me thinking. So is analog worth it in 2025? Because if I have a look at the prices, let me clear this so we can get this off the screen. And I'm going to jump over here on DIY FPV. So if we come over here and we look at this, hopefully my computer doesn't freeze. So we're going to have a look right here. So if I go to FPV equipment and let's have a look at some analog goggles, the options for analog, I feel like, are getting less and less and less. And if we look at some of the prices, I don't know how much it is worth it moving forwards in the future. There is one part when I'd say yes, it's absolutely worth it, and that would be if you're just getting a ready to fly kit like as a gift. If you're maybe like you can't afford anything else, you want to just get a little whoop kit, have some fun, are analog goggles probably going to be up your alley? Yes, because you don't have enough money to break into digital and use that. But if I'm looking at some of the prices of these things, so look here, we've got some EV800Ds. Nobody, I don't think, in their right mind. Like, okay, Fat Shark Scouts, $200. Let's have a look. That's a 400. Okay, so like these are top of the line goggles, so $450. What do we got here? Some Sky Zones, $500. Orcas, are they still in stock? I'm not too sure. Actually, you know, some other Sky Zones right here. Let's have a look. In stock might change some things. All right, so here we've got some, like, these about as cheap as you can get without going like really, really, really low budget. So right here we've got some 800Ds, pretty tried and tested, but not my favorite goggle. There is like $60 pairs, and this is usually what comes. Here we go. This pair is like $50. So right here, this is sort of what I was using with the Draknite kit. I don't think now, unless you are using whoops and you are going like for a cheap pair of goggles, analog is not the way to go. That doesn't mean analog is like not worth it at all, because maybe going to whoop racing, you want a really, really high quality pair of goggles. So maybe you're going to be going HD0, maybe you're going to be going a top of the line pair of Sky Zones. Like, that option is definitely not budget, and those people are choosing that for a specific reason. However, if we jump over here and just have a look at, say, digital systems, something like, we have the Goggles L in here. Let's have a look. Where are they? I should be able to search these up. Okay, so if we're going to have a look here, these goggles These are $200. So again, this is moving up to digital, and it's only like another $100 difference. And this is where I have to say, moving into 2025, we just saw the prices that we have of those old analog goggles. For me, this is becoming more and more compelling on a system that I want to jump into. And especially like if we have a look at, they're not out, or actually they are out in some places, the N3 goggles from DJI. Now it has to be confirmed what air units those are going to work with. But if they are compatible with the 04 DJI air units that are coming out, they're like, we had a look at this last week, $230. So on the FPV side of things, if you are looking in and you want something cheap, unless it is a gift, it is real, like for someone else to try and just have a bit of a play with, and you're not expecting them to upgrade anywhere in the future, it is really, really difficult to go past what the current options are for digital. Look, I don't know what you guys think out there. What would you spend your money on? You're coming into the hobby in 2025 and you're looking to get in cheap. And I mean, not like the question was best cheap goggle. So that's $200. That is cheaper than some digital options, than some analog options out there, but you're getting the benefits of digital. So I don't know. It's very, very hard nowadays to recommend a good, cheap analog goggle when we have such compelling digital options. Now, that doesn't mean digital's dead. I'm not saying that at all. The only two reasons why I would probably get analog today is if I want to fly whoops, and I am really, really into like and I'd probably get some expensive goggles if that was the case, or I am absolutely broke. I cannot afford anything else but a ready to fly kit, and then I would be getting an analog system just to try it and have fun. And I don't expect to upgrade in the future, but we'll see what other people are saying as well. I still have the Headplay V2 box goggles kicking around somewhere. That's from Cos from 1973. Yep, random FPV. He'd spent his money on some other things. Not too sure what he'd be getting right there. And I've hung on to my analog goggles for long range flights. Okay, that's a really good option as well. I guess it depends how long you're going to be doing long range, because if you're flying around analog, it can get some crazy VTXs and you can get some really, really good long range, and I prefer how the breakup is. But you're going into a bit of like niche specific reasons on why you choose analog. And probably the best way to think about this is you're coming into FPV in 2025. What goggles, what system should I get? It really all comes down to what do you want to do? Do you want to fly around for fun? Are you going to be going to like proper 5-inch races? Do you want to go to whoop nights? You're just going to be flying around whoops indoors? Do you just want to cruise around the park and not annoy people? Do you prioritize best picture? Do you want to do long range? Like, the activities that you do should dictate what system you want to buy into. So that would be my number one advice. Write a list, because I'll tell you the truth right now, and this is no spoiler, any other reviewer or YouTuber or anyone else who has tried this will tell you there is no one system that does everything best. There is no jack of all trades and master of all trades. A lot of systems do different things. I think some are better than others. Some are more expensive. Some are cheaper. Others have a lot more limitations. It's just, what do you want to do with your goggles? So for me, I got to say, I really like Walk Snail in its current state, but that with the current competition, but that might change when we see the 04 Air unit come out. Now you might be saying, hey Stu, what is it? What is it about Walk Snail that you like? So I've got this pair right here, and believe it or not, I actually like flying with my goggles L. Sometimes more than these. It sort of depends on what mission I'm going to do. I do need to replace these antennas on here. Yeah, someone's saying, agreed, different tools for different jobs. Yeah, absolutely. And if it's all about fun, think about the sort of flying that you do. Now, for me, I specifically like this pair of goggles, or the Walk Snail system. It's got a really good picture, in my opinion. It's not as good as DJI, but it is pretty close. And I know Stickman Steve actually prefers Walk Snail. I like probably the biggest one. We get some great little 1S kits, so a really small little form factor. I can put that in like the Lightning V2, scream that around, and have an awesome time. So that little form factor with a good picture is why I like Walk Snail. But it seems like DJI now coming out with the cheap goggles, so the N3 and a very, very light air unit. It's going to be a very, very competitive. We're gonna have two pretty compelling options right there. It just really comes down to how small is that air unit. Can I fit it in a Lightning V2? Here's my Lightning actually right here. I was just pulling some DVR off this like 2 days ago. if I can get a small DJI system in here, well, then it's a much, much tougher choice. But you don't have too much room. It is still a very, very tightly packed little space in here. So time will tell. Definitely, hopefully going to be testing those in the future. I can't wait to try it out, or rip those things around and sort of find out what's the best goggle. What should people get? Because I have no allegiance to any one system, despite what some people might say, or it seems like you can't really stand up for one system without people saying, hey, you're a shill, or you're on DJI's books or Walksnail's books or HD0. But at the end of the day, I just want to have options and fly around with what I find the most fun, because that's what FPV is all about. Only for a short while until DJI squeeze out CADX, then go back to their previous pricing. Well, that's what's good about them, and that's what's good about competition, right? So we've got to see. It might encourage CADX to innovate, but it's going to be very hard because DJI has like billions of dollars. Pouncer 9000, love my DJI V1 goggles, but the fact they went from premium to outdated to obsolete in 5 years means I'm never buying DJI again. I have to say that I don't have the latest DJI goggles. I don't have the G2s. I don't have the like the naming system on the goggles. It does my head in. I think whoever named the DJI goggles is what's an Aussie, like a sausage short of the barbecue or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but I use the 1.5s or whatever it is, and 5 years. I think the thing you have to understand is, though, they developed new technology that came with that so it couldn't really be compatible with those other systems. I'm all for like pushing the envelope and supporting old products, and I would love to bash on DJI here and say, hey, let my old goggles use that. But what do you do if you're a company and you develop a new piece of hardware that's not compatible with old systems? Do you hold that back from other people who want that because you're other consumer-based board? Like, it's not as black and white. I'm sure that, well, actually, I'm not sure. If I ran a company, I would like to support as many products as I can for the longest amount of time. The difference, though, and this is where you do make a really good point, is if DJI, let's talk about this new O4 Air unit, if they make a great Air unit but make it obsolete with a lot of goggles on purpose, then it's going to be a very, very tricky situation, because if they're doing that and they're just pricing people out, sort of like the way Apple encourages people to buy a new phone every year, I agree, then that is absolute garbage, and I'm definitely not a fan of that. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's see. Random saying, I bought a downhill bike in 06 for 10K. 6 years later, I sold it for $300. New tech comes in all the time. Yep. You sell an upgrade board. That's what you do. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. I guess that's what they tell us about these goggles right here, that they can be upgraded in the future. I really bought into that idea that CADX is going to, when they develop something in the future, that you'll be able to swap it in and out of here based on that receiver unit. I really, really like that. But we haven't heard much about it. We haven't heard new things about CADX's system. They've released products since that aren't upgradable, so we will just have to tell. I'm not too sure if it was all smoke and mirrors or what's going on. Just like the V2 goggles being weeded out. When you say the V2, you don't mean the goggles too? Do you mean the FPV DJI goggles G2 right there? Planned obsolescence. Yeah, that's annoying. That's exactly what Win Jumble is saying. Let me know, like, if you were DJI, what would you do? You've released this O4 Air unit, and I want you to think dollars. How would you maximize your dollars if you were trying to dominate an industry? Because they didn't become $1 billion company by being generous and giving away their technology. And it's not, why make something that you can upgrade when you can sell them something that they have to replace? I think that's sort of the mindset that they would have. CADX promises a lot, but delivers a little. Well, they deliver on some things that I think matters, like a small air unit that I can fly around with a good picture. A lot of those other promises, To be honest, I wish they just would forget about them and say, hey, look, we made a mistake. We're just going to focus on working on what we're good at. So just give us better air units that can take larger voltages, that maybe a little bit more robust, that we can rip around, maybe try to improve your picture or your latency or any of that sort of stuff. I don't really care about having an AV input and like match to an app and like this double transmitting and repeating of that. All that sort of stuff gets in the way of me just having fun. Let's see. We were lucky they are compatible to G2 and Integra. So I honestly can't imagine an improvement that will be significant for anyone doing online content that will improve on the O3. And Rundle is saying CADX releases goggles L, and now suddenly DJI can sell goggles for 300. Yeah, that's the best bit about I guess competition. People don't realize we wouldn't have these goggles N, or the goggles, what is it, the N3 from DJI coming out without CADX. Without CADX getting in here, making a really cheap $200 goggle, this bad boy right here. If CADX didn't come out with this, we wouldn't be getting new DJI tech. They would happily sell us the same old thing, sit on their proprietary technology, maybe sell that to the military, which is becoming more and more prevalent in this hobby. Yeah, they wouldn't be selling us this for so cheap if this company wasn't around. So competition is always good. It's why I have to say I'm not beholden to anyone's system. I want a great consumer choice for us. Monopolies are really, really bad. We need as many options as we have. And it's great at the moment where each one of our established systems, ecosystems, when it comes to FPV, actually has a use case. DJI, I want really, really good picture. That's what I'm all about, and a little bit of simplicity. CADX, I want a good picture, and I want a tiny little form factor that I can rip around at a cheaper price. HD0, I want some really low latency. I don't care much about picture, and I want to do some racing. Like, I want it to easily integrate with that. IPC, I'm kind of crazy, and I just want to make some cool stuff. Like, and analog, it's what I've got left, and this is what I'm going to rip around. I don't care about crashing it because some of the old components are a lot cheaper. So, yeah, all in all, there is no one system to rule it all, and we have a lot of choices, but it's getting a little bit narrow and a little bit scary with DJI. Blacktop is saying all DJI is going to do is release a subscription plan for the updates, and they're going to be software-based. And CADX was my choice of FPV ecosystem, and I'm glad I did. No regrets. Competition creates innovation. Yep, I agree. It is all good. The only tricky part is you've got to remember DJI has $1 billion. So billions of dollars. So it is very tricky to compete against that when you're like a little small company, smaller company like that, like CADX. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about this. I thought this was kind of interesting, and let me know what you guys think, because REDCAT, and I don't want to say anything and get it incorrect, but REDCAT, Rotor Riot. This has had me thinking about like the weaponization of our hobby. You might have missed this the other day. However, and I'm not too sure if REDCAT still owns Rotor Riot or if they sold it off to make, is it like Teal Machines or something? But look at this. So we have right here, why is this on the screen? There we go. REDCAT, so they beat out the competition. Now that DJI is basically not allowed, one of the defense contracts here, their shares surged more than 40% after the drone technology firm was selected by the US Army as the production provider for its short-range reconnaissance program. Now, in the past, I made some videos on REDCAT. How, look, this isn't really great. It's not a great image for people who want to fly around and have fun. I understand that REDCAT is a business. Not really for our hobby though, if that makes sense. And if we have a look at their share price, oh, that's Reddit. I thought I was looking at REDCAT, not Reddit. Here we go. This is what I was after. Let's have a look here. So if we have a look, yeah. So here's where it was trading, pretty standard. And then all of a sudden, this is when the announcement happened on the 20th. And we are definitely, that is a pretty massive, substantial increase right there. So yeah, 200%, 230% in the last month. So it looks like the people at REDCAT know what they're doing, but it is 100% finance behind that. They don't care about us. They don't care about the hobby. They don't care about having fun, flying around in the park, getting families together, enjoying RC and enjoying the skies. This is why back in the day they had propositions about like think how much money this is worth right now. Like this is long-term, big thinking, so much more than just you and I, everyday FPV pilots. This is the exact reason why for a while they were trying to buy our flight data. They wanted to know what was going on our flight controller, like just it was a bit of a sketchy time. So anyway, that's what REDCAT's doing at the moment. And it was kind of, I mean, if it wasn't them, it was going to be somebody else. Yeah, someone's saying exactly if they know what they're doing, but the army seems to think. Oh, I don't know exactly if they know what they're doing, but the army seems to think so. Well, anybody who's been in the military, I've been to some military shows. I've got some friends in defense, and it feels like you can just add a couple of extra zeros to a product, and if you can package it nicely and sell it to them, then people are going to buy it up. Like they will happily just spend tons and tons of money on it. It's only that we're not that we're penny pinchers, but in this hobby, we really know what is value. We've got a lot of open source, free community projects we can use. But who cares about that when you're defense, right? So I don't know. And I don't even know like how I feel about defense in the hobby. Like what does the weaponization of our hobby mean for the future? It's not black and white, and I don't want any witch hunts or anything like that. Like, let me make this very clear. There are people in our hobby that do a lot for our hobby, but also do a lot on the private side for helping places around the world. But that's completely their prerogative, and I don't want anyone to like, they can choose to do that. That's neither my choice or anyone else's choice but their own. The tricky part is, what do we do, say, if a company is making stuff? We get like all this innovation is driven by war. We get to benefit from it, but how morally correct is that? Like it is not black and white. It is a really, really gray area. And I guess we as consumers have a choice, and that could be voting with our wallets and everything. But what happens if a company can make more in 1 month with a defense contract than they can do with five years of FPV? Like that's sort of the numbers that we are talking. Like the FPV hobby market is so small. The weaponization of drones is astronomically large. It's a little bit sad, but it is the grim reality that we are in. And I don't have the answer. I don't know how I actually don't even know how to feel about that. Like it's quite conflicting, because I like seeing new tech. I like seeing the cool stuff that we have, but we wouldn't be here without conflicts around the world. Let's have a look. Stone FPV saying hopefully their drones are better than the RC cars, because their RC cars were garbage. I'm not too sure what he was talking about right there. It could be, maybe, is he talking about REDCAT right there? And Cliff is saying, again, it's only because we are not in a world war that we have a choice of disagreeing with it. If it was a world conflict, we'd all be for REDCAT helping us out. Yeah, well, like that's what I mean. It's not black and white, right? Like it's probably the part that people feels a little bit dirty is if you mislead the public. You grow on a community and talking about having an awesome time with FPV, and then you like might be tracking their data and selling it. You want to know where you're flying around and that sort of stuff. So if you're being disingenuous, that's when people are going to get a little bit upset. All right. Do you think we're gonna move on there from REDCAT winning that contract? But this one is from Mape. Let me put this on the screen, good sir. And if you need to tag me as well, it does make things a little bit easier. Just tag me with @UAVFutures. So, do you think the 04 air unit dimensions will drive innovation with whoops? So, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. The problem is the 04 air unit. It's too big. Like it is still too big. We have a Whoop somewhere. Probably got one downstairs in the studio. It's like 16 grams. The O4 Air unit at the moment is 10 grams, and that might be plus the camera that goes on top. So it's never going to get into the Whoop size. DJI doesn't care about Whoops. They're not really in its market. You think the hobby side is so small, and then you've got DJI FPV, which is like even smaller again, and then you go down to the Whoop size. I think that market is still too small for DJI to ever care. And even if you took all the Whoop boards in the world, made the best product, is that really going to be that profitable? Like let's pretend we have the perfect air unit. You've got basically HD0 with DJI quality at a low price. How much money are they really going to make from that? So I don't know. I don't think so. It's not going to put any innovation in the Whoop scene. And people say, oh, you can build bigger Whoops and things. Yeah, that is different. We're going to get a lot of innovation, I believe, in this size of craft, the little 2-inch or maybe a little bit better. You will see a lot of really, really cool, really, really capable craft coming out in this size once the O4 Air unit is out. But in terms of Whoops, no, I don't believe that's ever going to happen. Ben Thornton has a good point just mentioned as well. I feel like the stigma with FPV will get worse with REDCAT getting the contract. Well, yeah, that's a bad part of our hobby as well, is we don't, the media is definitely not going to see these FPV, like FPV racing drones used to be on the news for having fun and racing, and now it's just blowing people up. All right, let's have a look at this. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of that, let's move on. This is a little bit of an investigation that I did. So I wrote to a company. I don't really want to get them in trouble. I was reviewing one of their products, and they happened to mention something about the O4 Air unit that's coming out. And I casually was like, so what goggles are you using that with? And they wrote back, and I didn't want to press them too much, but these goggles right here. So let me just find these. So I'm talking about the right one. And their words exactly were these bad boys. So these are the goggles 2, or G2. Let me know in the chat if I'm missing something out, because I really, like I mentioned, hate the naming of DJI goggles. But yeah, these goggles is apparently what they were flying around with the new O4 Air units. So when they were doing their testing out there, they only had a few units to test. I don't know what firmware they're using. I don't know anything else other than this is what they were using. But it kind of gives me hope, and I'm hoping in the future when the O4 Air units do release, that anybody who has these goggles still has the option and doesn't need to upgrade. For me, I think I need to bite the bullet, and I'm really hoping that the N3 goggles are going to be compatible with the O4 Air unit. It seems stupid if that wasn't the case. But yeah, so if you've got these goggles, that's great. The old school like 1.5s or DJI FPV V2, I think you're going to be out of luck. They barely work. We are very lucky that they work with the O3s. But this right here, these goggles. So let's have a look. Yeah, this is going to be an option. I don't know, what are the other ones like? So if they work with these, as I think these are like one of the oldest, right? Because then what comes after this? Like some different. Let's go back. Man, I've got so many products to search through. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I'm realizing maybe I need a few more ways to limit this this sort of search. More goggles too. Like I've got this style, this style of really, really old goggles. This is just the antennas, but you guys can get the idea. I think we're going to be out of luck if we're using those. I'm not Not entirely sure. Win Jumble is saying at UAVFutures, how would the N3 goggles LCD screen handle high quality images of O4 units? I don't know, but I don't think I'll be like. This is where people are getting a little bit hung up, I think, on image quality, and it's sort of like we played video games for so long at 60 frames per second. And then, yes, people needed like high refresh rates, and eventually things came along like they're doing 4K and I don't know, 200 hertz or whatever it's going to be. But I think for FPV purposes, when you are cruising around, I'm more than happy with 60 frames per second. Like that is enough. And unless you're doing racing, which is at like 90, I don't think you need to worry too much. But we still have HD0 to do that. I think, yeah, 60 hertz is going to be fine. How would the N3 goggles LCD screens handle high quality images? So I think probably pretty good. And props off, did you see my FPV community share challenge? All the info is on my website and channel. I'm a developer. I develop it over the next couple of months. So is this on YouTube? Like, where can I see this, props off? I saw you last week, and maybe can you email me real quick, like uavfutures@gmail.com, if you've got a link, and I'll be able to get that up on the screen for people to look at. I'm all about 60 FPS. I have the option for 100 or 120, but I never use it unless I want to do a slow motion edit. Yeah. Like even on recording, like I'm happy to record. I don't even like on my GoPro, I don't need 100 frames per second or anything like that. It looks good. And we've got Robert Garley. He's saying, hey, Stu, how are you, my friend? It's Bobby from Bunnings. Hope you're well, mate. Love your work, pal. Okay. Like, I don't know which state that was in, because I do remember, like, this is a bit of a random story. I was in Bunnings one day, which is basically like I don't think they're in the US. It's like a garden center, home center for buying like power tools and bits of timber and I don't know, all sorts of things. Maybe you need something to fix your yard or your house up. Yeah, and I did meet someone, but maybe I feel like that was back down in Victoria. So when I used to live down there, not too sure. Okay, but I am well. I am very well, my friend. Okay, I saw this the other day, and this is a bit of a shout out to Bardwell, because he did a video and he was flying around. What he mentioned was the fastest 5-inch freestyle drone. Now, if I jump over here, let's have a look. And the fastest freestyle drone you can buy. So I don't actually even know how to pronounce this. We tested, I believe, like one of their 10-inch drones, and to be honest, it was kind of a bit of garbage. I didn't like it at all. But he was flying around, and this is a flight on 8S. And is 8S going to become a norm? And oh my gosh, I absolutely hope not. I hope this isn't the case. So we've got someone here as well. Bardwell's pinned this. Before you argue with the title, I said fastest freestyle drone. This is a 5-inch freestyle drone that comes out of the box ready for 8S voltage. That's what the title is referring to. I don't think you need to clarify yourself there, Bardwell. You can title your video whatever you like, man. If anybody's getting upset about that, they can just go jump in a lake. But regarding a 5S drone, a 5-inch freestyle drone that is coming out on 8S, I don't want that to happen for our hobby. Like, it was bad enough going to 6S, but 6S has its advantages. The problem with the higher voltage, a lot of our components don't like huge inputs. We're going to need a lot of different regulators to tone it down. Like if I look at my Airunits that I've got for these little bad boys, and I'm talking about like digital, I am quite happy with what we have. When it comes to 6S, yep, it's great for racing and great for those 5 inches. If I was hardcore into racing and all of a sudden companies started making products for 8S racing drones, I'm going to be pissed. Like it's not what I want to do. It might be a little bit more efficient than 6S. Mad Hatter is saying 8S is better. I have an 8S build. It's great. It's only that because it has 8S motors, they're the same or better. Yeah, just I don't want to have to do that. I'm going to be annoyed if everything has to start and then I've got to go buy all new batteries again. It's just not what I want. I took a long time to switch over to 6S because I flew around on 4S for a long time. I don't actually even know if, like, I can still get a 4S drone that is extremely fast versus 6S. If you're just looking at the KVs, yeah, there might be a little bit more efficiency in it, but overall, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should 6S be 2024, and should we move into 8S in 2025? Please don't let that happen. I don't want that. I don't know what the advantages would be. Someone's saying, yeah, I have an 8S in my 10Q, and yeah, it's pretty well. But what's different? Like, are you just putting it on and speccing out higher KV motors? Like, is that the only difference? Is that the only thing that we're getting? Can you just do that on 6S with a higher KV motor? I don't understand. And there's a 12S stack from Maytech. 12S in 2025. Man, I absolutely hope not. All right, let me just double check my email here, because we have props off saying he emailed me. Are you sure? Like UAVFutures at gmail.com. Because I'm not getting anything at the moment right there, but I'll leave my email up here just to double see. Someone's saying no sag. Problem with 8S is the likelihood of a cell dying increases 25%. One cell dies and we toss the whole battery. 4S was so much more reliable than 6S. Yeah, I guess that's one thing to think about. I don't want to buy a new 8S charger. That is a really good option. Thank you, Johnny DRC. A lot of our chargers only go up to 6S normally. So this is the problem. When you change a standardization, you have to think about a lot more things in the background that people use. So chargers, battery checkers, like inputs to your flight controller or your power distribution boards, your ESCs, your motors. Like, it is not just as simple as swapping the battery out. If you're going to be changing to 8S, it's going to have some pretty big implications in a hobby. And I don't want to do that. It was hard enough going from 4 to 6. I've seen it happen. I started on 3S and then we moved to 4S. It was really, really good. Like, that difference was great. It felt like a great middle ground. 6S was really pushed by the racers, and it is fine as well, although I haven't noticed too much of a difference. Then there are 8S batteries. You don't have to buy them. Make 4S to make 2 8Ss is a great idea. Yeah, that is on the flip side. One advantage is you might be able to set two 4S packs up in series if you're going to fly around. I'm just trying to get your email here. Props off. It is definitely not here. So UAVFutures at gmail.com. Chris is saying adding more batteries. Oh, did that just disappear? I am 4S. I cannot currently crunch the numbers to justify 6S. I'm not a super fast racer and it would cost way too much to change over. Man, I remember when everyone went crazy over 4S. Yeah. But then you got to think too, we go backwards. Like this. There's a little 2S. It absolutely screams. I don't know. I don't think that... What advantages do we have? Tell me in the chat, besides maybe some more efficiency. What advantages do we have in an 8S setup? Is it that you can just draw more amps from those cells, like when it comes to the discharging? Because I don't know. Forest is more reliable than 6S is anecdotal at best. All right, looks like we've started a bit of an argument in the chat between the 4S, 6S, and everything. All in all, I just hope that we can stick to 6S for a long time, because I don't know if there's any advantages that 8S can entice me to want to switch over. However, if everyone starts making 8S and 8S becomes the way of like racing, and people have to switch over to that because, look, they don't make racing motors that are compatible or I guess competitive anymore, that's going to piss me off if I already have a big fleet of drones. It already annoys me that half my drones are 4S and half my drones are 6S. All right. More cells does not make a better experience. That's from Chris Croft. Okay. It's just more fun and bigger is always better. Okay. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Okay, what did I have next that I wanted to talk to while I wait for this email to come in from Props Off? Because can you please double check? You can also ping me on Discord. Like my Discord link should be down below in the general chat if you want to tag me right there so we can have a look at the challenge that you're talking about. This one. So, okay, here's a bit of a spoiler that you will see tomorrow, but I can't talk too much about it right now without getting in trouble. But essentially, are ready to fly kits worth it? And I'm going to, what do I have? Are ready to fly kits worth it in 2025? And how much fun can you have with them? Because normally I'd say a ready to fly kit is just that. It's like kind of the base level entry into the hobby. But if you want to get serious about FPV, you're going to have such a better time with like my $400 and something guide that you get digital, like a little Lightning or a Mob 8. But I recently flew a ready to fly kit, and I'm not going to drop the name. I'll put a picture on the screen here later in the week because you'll see it coming out. And it was an absolute blast. I have never had so much fun with a ready to fly Whoop kit. It was awesome. Stickman Steve was over here. I was laughing, and it really reminded me that you don't need the best gear to have a fun time in FPV. You just need mates, a couple of crashes, and a little track to rip around, and it was a blast. So if you are on the fence and thinking, should I try FPV? You don't want to spend tons and tons of money. You just maybe you want to get as a gift for somebody. A ready to fly kit, I think, is a great way to get people into the hobby, especially if it's a good kit that, like the one that I reviewed, that people can enjoy. So I don't know, let me know what you guys started with, but ready to fly kits often get a bit of a bad rap. You're going to have like not the best video. It's going to feel a little bit cross-eyed. You're essentially just flying around with like a little cheap toy because that's what these ready to fly little beginner Whoop kits are. But you can still have an awesome time. So don't let the cheap price put you off and think, oh, it's still not going to be fun. I think yeah, when I was cruising that, I wish I could just mention the name of it and show you some pictures of it. When I was flying that thing around, it was absolutely amazing. Let's see. A couple of guys are trying hard to get me to go 6S. I just can't get the benefit for me. I wish I had the money to do it next season. And this is your last chance, Props Off, if you are watching this, buddy, and you haven't tagged me. So we'll have to, you're just going to have to send me an email or tag me next time because I can't see your links anywhere that you want me to check out. So not too sure what's going on with that. All right. Jumping over to right here. We have, here we go. Okay, here's a little bit of an announcement. I know so many people signed up to DIY FPV last week, which is really, really exciting because I can't stress that enough that you do want to be involved. If I jump over here and we go to DIY FPV, one of the little features that just got pushed this morning is because often when we're searching for a product, you like, especially like say we're looking at like the sales that are on or the holiday sales or anything like that, it can be really, really tricky to find a store that's going to suit you. And especially you might see a lot of promotions. You're like, oh man, that sucks. It's just in Australia or it's just in New Zealand. But what we're able to do now, if I go over here, I was like, oh, this is a great feature. Thank you for doing that. We can go into my preferred stores and you can add these. So that way, like if I want to add a store here, and this is going to, the reason this is a little bit slow at the moment is because it's going to like a local host. It's not currently out in the cloud, but then you can, look, who else do we want here? What's a cool store we can add? Let's add, look, these are all cool stores, but let's add, RDQ, save changes. And now I want to go back to my catalog and what are we going to look for? I don't know, a radio controller. Let's have it. Let's say, oh, I know I've got some accounts at these stores. They've already got all my details. I can't be bothered to put it, or I've got really good shipping, or maybe I've got points there. If I just click on my preferred stores instead of just searching them, oh, look at that. These are the ones I can limit my search there. So I thought that was a pretty nice feature that is hopefully the more people use this, the more people are going to get out from it. So DIY FPV, it really is for everybody. If you've got some suggestions on like how to make this site better, if you are looking for something or you want to know what motor to get or like where to find something, where to ship it from, we're going to have options in here too, where like, I just want to have a look at UK stores. I just want to look at Australian stores. I just want to have a look at my preferred stores. Where's the cheapest place that I can get this? What does this do with shipping? So This is pretty close to launch. Great Scott is saying it should be active right now. We need it. It is coming. The reason that it has not launched is we just have to tidy up a few little things. We're basically like doing testing now. So if we jump over here to the dashboard, we're making sure that, look, people can't spam a whole heap of profanity and just spoil it for us. So at the moment, it's essentially doing like some little polishing and that sort of stuff, but it will be out pretty soon. So yeah, that's why I can't stress more than enough that that link is going to be down below. You do want to be involved. We're going to have builders and maps, and like we're releasing some of these features before some of the others. But yeah, I'm really excited. And a big part for me is just having the map and being able to message somebody and say, hey, let's go for a fly. Let's rip around, have an awesome time, as well as trying to find sort of, you want to build something. Maybe you want to build some 8S drones. Well, here you go. If that is you, you're switching over to 8S. This is probably going to have you covered. Carl is saying, fun subject matter and clear passion, great learning UAVFutures. Thanks for the lesson as I begin my FPV adventure in Alaska and the rugged outer coastal views. It's probably pretty cold there. So it's pretty warm here right now, actually. We're heading into summer in the week here, so it gets very, very warm where I live. It's an awesome idea. Can't wait to meet up with other pilots in the Fraser Coast. Yep. Well, it's going to be there, man. So it's very, very close to. I actually even spoke to the team about the release date and like announcing it. And they said, just hold off 1 week before, just to double check, even though release is still on schedule, just in case. I'm sure anyone who's in code or knows anything about building a website knows how much work it can be. That was the reason. But look, if you've got some questions or anything, throw them down in the chat. This is the best part of my working week. I've sort of covered everything that I wanted to talk about today. I do have coming up in a couple of days, we still have like some TBS wing videos that I need to sort of finish and work through and talk to Trappy about. And I got an email from Cadex. So somewhere in the post is their repeater unit, which essentially speaks to, if you don't know what that is, you put your goggles on, and then the repeater unit will take the signal from a drone and sort of act as a middleman, and the goggles will send out to the repeater unit, and then from that repeater unit they'll send it to the drone and then send it back. So yeah, I'm not too sure what to do with that. Like it's kind of cool technology. It feels like it is definitely made for weaponization of drones though. Like that's where people are going to get, that's the use case for it. Maybe we can find some other use cases for it in our hobby. The real question, though, for me is, does it have to work with these? Can you work with it with like some other systems? So if you have a way to repeat that back, maybe there could be some use cases in racing, or you can send that signal out for other people to do something with it. It doesn't have to be just sending drones on one-way missions. Johnny DRC, you madman, you didn't have to do that. So thank you very much. He sent me through a little super chat. He's saying, have a coffee, Stu. Thanks very much, brother. I really do appreciate that. You didn't have to do that at all because you're here week in, week out. But I would like to let you know that does make a difference, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So thank you very much. And speaking of coffee, actually, a big shout out to Phaser and Central Coast Coffee, because they actually ship me my coffee each month. So a bit of a shout out to him for sponsoring their channel that way. I don't think I'd be able to get through the morning without a morning coffee. UAV Future, what's your top 20 by 20? Let's have a look at, I can give you, like, I don't have a top, but we can go through here. This is how I know that this website is going to be amazing. Let's have a look. What's going on here? Oh, I'm already in the catalog. If we go to electronics, and do you mean for like a stack, a flight controller? What do you mean right there? But if, let's just have a look at some stacks. I think Speedy Bee makes some really good stuff. Diatone used to make some good things, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble or make anybody's life worse than it currently could be, but Diatone used to make some great things, but you probably haven't heard too much from them because, well, it's a tricky time in the world, right? And what happens if someone knocks on your door and is like, hey, did you sell all this gear to this state that we don't agree with or do agree with, oh well, bye for a while. So yeah, I used to really like diatone stuff, but I don't know what's going on at the moment with them. One thing I will mention, actually, when it comes to your favorite stacks, so anything that is, and I know MadTech has been, I always get it confused between MadTech and Mads Tech, even though I know it's the latter. It confuses me, but he has been making a bit of noise about like the AM32 ESCs. So my recommendation would be, yeah, choose those. Don't choose an ESC or a stack that is using like test version of BioHeli 32, which I could go on a whole nother rant about that. But I'm looking at the time and I don't want to do that. But yeah, so if you're looking at something, I know Speedy Bee. What does Speedy Bee use actually? There are some Speedy Bee ESCs in here, because I do really like them. Let's have a search. Speedy Bee. I put this in here. This is out of, okay, this one. So, BioHeli 32. But is this old stock or new stock? That's probably what we need to look at. I feel like race day quads, they would be doing the right thing. I've never used this ESC though. And Cliff Field from New Zealand, he's saying, have a Milo, Stu. He's got a one-up you, Johnny. Thanks for the effort, Stu. Thank you very much there, brother. I actually don't have any Milo. For those people that I don't know if Milo might just be a Kiwi and Australian thing. I don't know if Milo exists in the rest of the world. But thank you very much, Cliff. You didn't have to do that, but it is appreciated. And I should give people a shout out to my patrons as well. So if you're one of my Patreon supporters and you're watching this, or maybe you'd like to become one, that helps me do this channel. Without that, I wouldn't be able to make this content. I wouldn't be able to do UAVFutures. I'd have to go back to school teaching. So that's what I used to do before this. So if you like the channel and you think, you know what, this video, Stu's videos, the stream, and like 2 videos a week and the stream clips as well, is that worth 25 cents a week? I'm asking you. Would you pay 25 cents a week to keep this channel going? Because my Patreon link is down below. That's it. That's like $1 a month, 25 cents a week. That is what I'm asking for. So thanks very much, Cliff. And Win Jumble is saying, UAVFutures, just wanted to say thanks for your attention to mental health issues and focus on people with depression. Not of us recognize how important that is. Thank you, Stu. It is my pleasure, my friend. It's not a popular topic. I feel like I can see the analytics when I talk about mental health, and a lot of people are like, hey, this isn't FPV. I'm going to just click away now. But if you're watching this, if you're the one person, maybe this might change their life. You never know when that one comment might alter someone's trajectory and how they're feeling, their mood, or their entire life. So I don't want you to feel alone. I've been there. I know what it's like. And if you are suffering from mental health, please reach out, or it doesn't have to be to me. It could be to anybody in this community. Just go and talk to somebody, because you don't have to suffer through it when it's alone. And it is tricky. But I want you to know that you're valued and you're cared about. And even just reaching to this one person, you listening to this, who might be struggling with it, you're valued, and I really care that you're here. I'm serious, I do. And this whole stream could disappear, and I couldn't care less about the FPV side of things if it made a difference to that one person, if it made a difference to you when you're listening to this, to let you know that I care about you. Thank you. Thanks for just being a human. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, you're making my day better, and I hope that I can make your day better in some way. Anyway. Look at the analytics tanking. We just lost 20% of viewers. That's a serious stat right there. Win Jumbo saying it's very important in FPV, as most of us use this hobby as an escape. Yeah, FPV improved my life in a massive way, and if we can help it improve other people's as well, that's what it's all about. Now, look, I'm going to say, Johnny D, thanks for the super chat right there. And thanks very much to Cliff as well for sending his through. For everybody else, I want to say I hope you have a fantastic day. If you've got any other questions before I get back down to doing some filming, I have to finish some things before that video that comes out tomorrow with the NDA. Props off. Did you ever send through that email? Let's have a look. I do have an email. but it doesn't say from props off. This could just be a random one. Is this props off for you, Ben? I have an email here from there, but that's just like a link to a YouTube channel. Let me know. We can have a bit of a chat. Dave S is saying you gained viewers, bro. Don't bag on yourself. We'll see. Check your spam folder. Okay. It is here. Okay. Let's have a look. Looks safe. I apologize. This was sent 16 minutes ago. Let me go to this website. And if I lose the stream, guys, if I get hacked, this is all props off. All his problem. Okay, let's have a look right here. I'll get this. We're going to put this on the screen. Share the FPV Hobby Community Challenge. Check out my live streams for more information. If this challenge is something you believe will test your creative side and you want to participate, or you just want to share, please use the link below. Okay, it's a Google link that only he can see. We've got the community challenge. Let's see what this is about. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a little something for you today. I want to go over the community challenge that I'm presenting to the FPV community. But first I want to say hi. Hi everybody out there. I am Props Off.
Props Off. I'm going to fast forward you here and get to the goods, buddy.
To kind of invite people to come and look at the FPV drone. You know, have you ever seen a race drone? You know, things like that. I set up a monitor so they can kind of see what it looks like, you know, as a ride along. Used to put box goggles on people, but after the big C, people just didn't want those. So there's a little bit of story that goes with this, and also another story of how I shared the hobby, and all of that is on the live stream. It's a longer version. I'm trying to kind of keep this.
Let's condense it.
Over here real quick to the community challenge tab. If you want to see more right now about it, go visit the website. Also in the live stream,
I'm going to post
go through each page and
post this link in the chat.
A little bit more knowledge, but this
right
is
here.
The community share challenge page.
Okay,
so if you would share this
so
link with other people,
let me know. Am I getting this correct? This whole challenge is to basically, if I can jump over here, to share FPV with someone else. Is that what that challenge is, Props Off? Because I think that's a pretty cool challenge. If that is the case, the link is there if anyone wants to go check it out. But yeah, that's cool to be able to share this with as many community members and just people around that might not know FPV, because as you know, like there's a huge weaponization of our drones, and if we can show people like it's not all negative, this is what we were doing before they were used as weapons of war. We were flying these things around for fun. So, and that's what it's all about. Just being part of a community, feeling free, just cruising the skies, having an awesome time. Props Off is saying, thank you. I appreciate all you do. Brother, you didn't have to send that through. I'm happily would have shared that for free, man, because you're sharing the love of FPV. So thank you. Sorry, it was in my my spam folder. Okie dokie. All right, guys. Other than that, I'm going to say subscribe, maybe to my Patreon. Is today the day that you decide, Stuart, your videos are worth 25 cents a week? Hey, look at this. I'm going to put my Patreon up here. And I know people usually just roll their eyes at my, like, let me know in the chat, say, yeah, I can't be bothered. I would just prefer, I would love some honesty here. Is it worth me sort of even talking about Patreon and saying, hey, is this what you want to join? That's my Patreon link. It's in the chat. And if my videos are worth 25 cents a week, so that's, let's say I try to do, if I look at my calendar, 2 videos, 1 live stream, and like 3 live stream clips. That's like, that can't be right. 2 videos, 1 live stream, 3 live. Yeah, that's like 6 videos. It's like 2 cents a video. 2 to 3 cents a video. If you think, you know what, Stu, I will support you for 2 to 3 cents a week, a video, I should say, then that's out there. Because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I don't know. That's the stream. Maybe I reached a couple of viewers out there who think they do want to help, and also I might have reached some people when it comes to mental health. The mental health part as well. That's like just really important. That's not Patreon related. You are valued. You are cared. You are special about. So you are special. All right. On that, guys, subscribe for more FPV related content. Oh, look at this. Ben is saying, I'll support. It's worth it to me. Thanks, man. That's massive. So I definitely have a lot small. Like if you look at the numbers as well, my Patreon is significantly smaller than a lot of other people out there. Maybe I don't push it enough, and it's completely open. Like you can see exactly how much revenue it makes. So it's not hidden or anything like that. It's fully disclosed. So you can see exactly where your money's going and what it's doing. And if you think it's worth 12 cents a week, too easy. All right. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content. This is like the 4th time that I've tried to leave, but you guys keep asking questions. And as always, happy flying. Okay.